yeah, there's things in it that I went, whoa, don't remember seeing that in the cinema, you know, and for good reason. Yeah, because there's things in the book that you just go, how? When you said that, I thought I'd recognize the name, and now I've seen the front cover. I'm like, I do know, I have seen that book, but it's probably recommended to me. You know, obviously, if you purchase anything, you usually get this might interest you.
Where there are gods, there are also monsters. For 1,000 years, the Etherworld has known peace until now. Many centuries ago, desperate to save her dying sister, Diana made a deal with Caden, a monster far worse than any nightmare.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into the To Be Decided podcast. And we're on, well, I don't know, episode 13, I think. Yeah, 13. Wow. I mean, time's gone quick.
Do you want a fun fact, Mr. Steve?
Oh, I love a fun fact. Go on.
13 is the house number.
Oh, is it really?
For the place that me and Mr. Bingly are considering.
Wow.
And since we've decided that we like it, we've been seeing the number 13 fucking everywhere.
Oh, no way. Wow. Okay, well, hey, look, you could take this as another song. Yeah. Holy crap. Okay, well, anyway, how are you doing, Kate? How's things?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Good. I mean, obviously,
as viewers may have guessed from my comments, Mr. Bingley and I are looking at buying a house, which is all very exciting. So life is about to get very stressful because moving is very stressful. We've got a load of cardboard boxes that we need to start putting shit into, if I can speak. The cat's looking at me like I've just said I'm going to put her in one, but I didn't.
I mean, to be fair, I'm surprised the cat hasn't just jumped into boxes. I mean, if there hasn't, she hasn't already.
She loves cardboard, plastic. I've already had to tell her off and take her away from the boxes because she was trying to nibble on them. She just loves it.
Stop nibbling under the boxes. You're going to make a hole, and everything's a fallout. Oh dear.
How are you?
Yeah, no. Do you know what? I'm not too bad. I actually have had a fairly good day today, and for reasons I will tell you in right now, I've finally seen Spider-Man.
Yes.
Oh, and it's good. It is.
It is very good.
Damn, it's good. And do you know what? I've been saying it week after week. I've been trying to get a chance to see it, and then I think you had said it to me the other day. It was like, right, I was like, that's it. I'm gonna have. Obviously, we need to be able to talk about it now. I'll keep it spoiler free. First of all, let's just for the sake of the podcast, I'm going to keep it spoiler free. But if we do want to talk a little bit more in depth, we can do so as and when I'm no longer broadcasting. But yeah, absolutely. I do feel like this is I think this isn't the fourth of Tom Holland's. I think it is. Yeah, it's the fourth in his reign as Spider-Man. Obviously, he's had other appearances in the MCU within, obviously the Avengers and obviously Civil War. And yeah, again, I'm trying to contain myself not to spoil too much, but my God, this is so good. Absolutely loved it. I actually do. Again, I'm going to repeat it because I've tried to avoid spoilers, but yeah, I actually do think this is the best one so far.
I mean, me and Mr. Bingley said it when we came out. It's first of all, it's really nice being able to see how powerful Spider-Man can become, because in the comics he is one of the most powerful superheroes.
Right.
You know, his development is insane. So it's nice that we are getting that, and like we said when we came out, it feels like a love letter to the Spider-Man comics. Damn well, Stan Lee would have adored that film.
Yes. Do you know what? It was, I was watching that with the thoughts of, again, trying to avoid any spoilers, but there are there's a lot going on in the film, and you know, there's a lot happening, but because there's, like you say about him developing his power, becoming more and more powerful, because he is powerful in the comics, but you know, obviously they sort of dumbed it down a little bit. They seem to have played it down a little bit in previous incarnations, I suppose.
Well, we didn't really have the chance for it in previous incarnations.
Wasn't able to do it, but they've got, you know, 4 films in for Tom, and like they've able
and
to.
It makes sense.
Yeah, now reached the point where it was like, okay, I really want to speak more.
The development of certain types of characters that are now able to come into the MCU.
It
makes sense how he's evolving, shall we say?
Yes.
And I've really liked the fact that you can see this evolution. You can see, you know, like the power growing and the potential for him. But the entire, like the main theme of the film was about, for me at least, highlighting that although Spider-Man is super fucking powerful and capable of, you know, defeating these really powerful people, he would rather talk and reason with them and have empathy for them. He's that neighborhood. You know, it's a running joke, isn't it? It's just your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Friendly neighborhood Spider. Yeah, it is. Yeah, there's a. There was a lot of leakage from where some of those scenes were filmed, and so it's no surprise to know that I could recognise some like I didn't recognise the areas because I've never been there, but I recognised the filming locations, and I'm like, oh, okay, I only know that because I see that people were putting it online. You know, I'm not giving out any sort of spoilers because they were like saying, okay, it does actually say where certain things were filmed, and obviously we know locally. I say locally, I mean to the UK at least. It's Glasgow was one of the locations. I'm like, wow, you know, that's cool. But yeah, and hey, look, I know in the last episode we talked about Marvel versus DC. Not to give too much away, but the recent Batman film was also filmed in Scotland, or some of it, not all of it, but like there's a scene that was shown.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of films do, you know, a lot of media does film in Scotland. Do you know what it is? It's the Highlands. Yeah. It's the mountains. You're after something picturesque, or, you know, lakes, mountains, and then you've got the likes of like Edinburgh, Glasgow, you know, those big cities where you get your really big metropolis scenes. It's perfect locations, really.
And obviously it's good for tourism because people will visit filming locations.
Oh,
like out of sheer
some
sort
people
of habit.
Can follow them.
Yeah, there is that. It's a little bit creepy sometimes, though. But yeah, hopefully it doesn't go too far. But yeah, it's good to see. Like, you know, there's local. Again, I say local being in England, but like, you know, like for the UK or there's certainly areas that have been explored and filmed. It's not just sort of like, not just London, because there are obviously there's been London as locations in previous films. Obviously, 28 Days Later was a key location. But anyway, talking about the Spider-Man, getting back to that. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I do urge people to go out and see it. It is amazing. And no spoilers when I say this, but it's an MCU film. Just take that on board from what you already know. There were like, it was, do you know what? It was really good to get into a cinema because like I haven't, saying we like it, there's more than one, there's only me. I haven't been to the cinema since Wicked. The you know, the last part, there's part 2. Which obviously was some time ago now. It was, you know, maybe a year ago, was it? I don't know. I can't remember how long ago that was, but it's now on streaming service. November. So yeah. So yeah, it's on streaming services now, and that's how long ago I watched that. But it was nice to see. I haven't seen any sort of real spoilers. I haven't really watched that many trailers, although some trailers were giving more hints. Like you got the teaser trailers at the start, where obviously the teasers it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get the major trailers later on, and it was good to see that I was able to sit in the cinema. And yes, there's obviously going to be munching of popcorn because that's a thing. It's a cinema. People want to do that, but there's no people on phones. There's no people on talk. Like the cinema was fairly empty at this point. Are talking.
We had it
4 weeks down the line, so
we had it. Unfortunately, we went to see it on Saturday. I think it was.
Yeah,
Mr.Bingly and I, and one of the things we could get over. There was a younger kid who at one point was like kind of running up and down the aisle and chattering, but it's a young kid, they don't really have large attention spans, and you could see that the adult that they were with was trying to encourage them to go back and sit down in their seat, so gotta respect it. But then there was this group, there was like 3 people sat like a row behind us and a couple of seats over, and they did not shut up the entire fucking film. And like at one point I was genuinely debating, like turning around and being like, will you shut the fuck up? Some of us want to watch this.
Yeah.
It was just so rude.
Yeah. I've sort of pre-COVID, I say pre-COVID, I mean, we're talking about Captain America when that first came out. I think it was the Captain, I can't remember which one, it's first or second. I don't know if it's Winter Soldier or
the first Avenger.
Yeah. I can't remember which one it was, but I remember sat there with a friend, and there was talking throughout. The cinema was packed. It was in its first sort of like second week. It hadn't been out that long, and honestly, most people were there, obviously, to watch the film. Majority, at least 99% of them were. And there was like just one small group of teenagers who were throwing things to their friends. Like there was a row behind me and my friend, and then like 2 rows in front of us, but they were the same group. Like they were trying to get each other's attention by throwing things. And honestly, fair play to this guy, but he stood up and he yelled at these kids, and there was a couple of them that they jumped forward onto my row. And yeah, he was like, do you mind? We're trying to watch a film. If no one else likes it, there's a door. Fuck off. And he was like, really?
Fair play.
Right. So that stopped the film. That stopped the auditorium of everyone just looked at this one guy, and no one said a word after. And we was like, and he was there with his kid, and he was like, you know what, we're all here to watch the film. If you don't like it, go. And I
don't understand why people pay money to sit in a dark room and have a conversation. Like, you're paying to watch a film, shut up and watch the film.
Shut up. And yeah, exactly. I mean, the reason I say it was like pre-COVID is because post-COVID, it seemed to happen a lot more. But we've had this conversation, haven't we? People forgetting etiquette. Yeah. So, it was that one occasion where I was like, I don't like going to the cinema. I want to go to the cinema. But yeah, I mean, again, didn't see it. And I'm glad I waited as long as I did, because the cinema weren't completely empty. There were, like I said, there were a couple of people. There were about three young lads. They came down, sat in a row. They didn't stay to watch the end of the film, so I don't know. Must have been maybe they were on a curfew. I don't know, but they didn't disturb it. It wasn't like I was like, I looked and I was prejudging that situation before it happened, which it didn't happen. But I was so in that mindset of it. That's what I expect nowadays. But yeah, no, it was good. It was the environment was pleasant. It was good to watch. People laughed at the right places when it should have been. Because it was it's a comic.
It was quite a funny film.
It was quite funny. But also, whilst we're on the subject, but I don't know what it's like for your cinema. I mean, you give me a brief sort of like a brief sort of sense as to what it could have been like with people in, but in terms of like timing and stuff. Now I had a 10:15 a.m. I had a 10:15 showing. It took half an hour before the film started. I'm like, I don't know if that's the same for you.
That's pretty standard.
I think,
nowadays, because like we always arrive slightly late because it doesn't matter what film it is, you've always got the half an hour of ads beforehand.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, I wasn't sure whether that was a thing, but like I've actually heard it on other podcasts, to be fair, when they've talked about well, one of the hosts talked about American cinema compared to British because he's done both. And he said, like, what is it with the UK and the adverts? They've just gone on forever. And I would argue that maybe that is the case. But yeah, I waited probably half an hour, maybe 20,
that sounds about right.
40 minutes before the film started. But also, I don't know if you had the same trailers as me, but I was quite excited to see a couple of trailers, not going to lie. And whilst it was on the MCU, yes, the Doomsday trailer looked damn good.
Yeah, we did have the Doomsday trailer.
But also, Songbirds, was it the Hunger Games? The
ballad, it's Sunrise on the Reaping.
Sunrise on the Reaping.
That's now, I will say, we will be discussing this on the podcast when it comes out because I am fucking obsessed with the Hunger Games. And I have been for a very long time. And I can tell you, I am very excited for this film to come out.
Well, I knew you would.
Like, I know we want to talk about fantasy this week, so
yes.
you can kind of start with this if you want, because it is like a YA dystopian fantasy.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. Yeah.
But the Hunger Games for me, would like, in terms of what I was reading as a teenager, it's perhaps the one that I go back to the most. And I keep going to call it A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes because you've said that title now, but that's not the one. It's Sunrise on the Reaping.
Yes, sorry.
So, for anybody who might not be aware, I'll keep this spoiler-free, but general overview. Sunrise on the Reaping is a Hunger Games prequel, you might call it, which focuses on fuck me, I can't speak, I'm so sorry. On the second quarter quell.
Yes.
Which is Hamish Abernathy's games. Now, what got me so excited about this, I have read the book. Now, we know what happens in Hamish's games before the book. You know, we know the outcome. We know the outcome. We know that he survives. We know the general premise of the Quarter Quell. If you're a diehard fan, you will know the general details of the games because there was a lot of extra information released during the initial release of the Hunger Games about Hamish's games. I've seen clips and I've seen trailers and I've seen the casting for this film, and let me tell you, they are on something good, Steve.
Yes, they are.
Now, the actual book itself, I'll not give spoilers for, but I do recommend reading or listening to. If you are a bit more of a diehard fan of the Hunger Games franchise, you will know what happens at the end of the book. Okay, I'm not going to tell you if you don't know. But if you do know, then you will appreciate when I tell you that I went into reading this book knowing what happens at the end. Okay. And the writing was so good that I forgot it was coming. And it surprised me when it happened. Even though I knew how the story ended, I was so immersed in the actual writing that I forgot it was coming up.
Yeah, I know. I do know what you're talking about. I have read it, so yeah. I won't out any sort of like details to it, but yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
I do indeed. Yeah, I do indeed.
It's heartbreaking when you're reading it.
Yeah,
but I was so immersed in the actual writing that I forgot it was coming.
Yeah.
Like the whole time when I was reading it, I was like, oh, I wonder how this is going to happen. I wonder how it's going to, I wonder how Suzanne's going to talk about it. And I forgot it was coming. And then I read it and I sobbed because not only was it heartbreaking, but I knew it was coming and I forgot.
No.
I mean, Suzanne Collins is a truly genius writer. When it comes to like political and social protest writing, especially in a YA format, in a fantasy settings, she's up there with the greats, in my opinion.
Yes, absolutely right. Absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree, because like I said, I've done the same sort of thing. I've done the books and then watched the films. I mean, I must admit, I didn't the last film, and I'm not going to mention it again because I don't want to put that into your mind. But I didn't watch the last film, and I purposely didn't. But I was put off by it because of one particular person in the film, and I think because of they kind of ruined their own career based upon certain things that they had said.
Is that the female lead, perchance?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I hadn't seen it. I shouldn't use that as a reason, though.
Oh no, you use that as a reason if you want to use that as a reason. I still haven't seen the live action Mulan movie for the same reason. But I would say it is still worth watching.
Right.
In the sense that you will learn more about like the world that the franchise is in. She's not the greatest in it, but she doesn't ruin it.
Okay.
However, the casting for Sunrise on the Reaping, I mean, can we just take a minute, like a moment, not necessarily a moment of silence, but a moment of appreciation for the casting directors of Sunrise on the Reaping? Because Elle Fanning, as a young Effie Trinket, as a young Elizabeth Banks, top tier.
Right.
Okay? You've got, I've forgotten his name, but the guy who's going to be playing Plutarch Heavensby has played a younger Philip Seymour Hoffman in another film.
Oh.
Okay. Joseph Zeta is a new actor, and bloody hell, he looks like he's doing a good job. But what gets me every fucking time, McKenna Grace has been fan cast as Maisie Donna since The Hunger Games came out.
Damn. Yeah.
Right? I have watched videos, fan-made video edits of McKenna Grace as Maisie Donna since, I want to say, 2015.
All right.
Right? And the casting directors have given the people what they want.
So look, yes, there's going to be a lot of praise for this, I think.
There's going to be a lot of praise for this. I'm going to be giving it a lot of praise.
I think it will be. I mean, it will be my first Hunger Games film to watch since the last
Mockingjay.
Since Mockingjay. Yeah, exactly. Because obviously, like I said already, I haven't seen the previous prequel, which is
about that Songbirds and Snakes.
Yeah, it's basic because that one is kind of the first 10 years, isn't it? I think it takes place. It's where snow.
It's the rise of snow.
It's the rise of snow, and then then we skip forward years. It's a few years. It's probably a couple of decades. But yeah, I am this one. I'm definitely looking forward to, and I was grateful to see. That's why I thought I mentioned. I knew if you had the same trailers as me, I knew this would be a good subject to kick us off with, because, as you said, we're kind of be going on to a fantasy episode. Well, say fantasy episode in terms of books. You know, we've done books episode before, but they were more sort of spicy. These ones are going to be more aimed at fantasy. Like you said, this is more dystopian sort of fantasy universe. Which, it was a good segue to come into, and that's why I
mean, I'm not going to lie, Steve. I could do a full podcast episode just talking about the Hunger Games. Like, it is my Roman Empire.
Yeah,
truly.
Yeah.
But like, there's a lot. I'll say this and then I'll shut up because I realise that I am rambling and ranting a little bit. But there's a lot of media, and by media in particular, I mean books, series that were very, very popular when I was growing up, had a very big impact on my life, and now are receiving a lot of backlash. Okay. Think Twilight.
Right.
How quickly that went sour.
Yeah.
Think Harry Potter. I can't have anything to do with the fandom anymore because of the actions of a Howling Rowling.
Yeah.
The Hunger Games is one of the only ones that really affected my life that hasn't aged badly.
Right.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it, which will kind of lead into the whole topic of wanting to talk about fantasy in general, is because it isn't centered around a love story. It includes one.
Yeah.
But if you like every book that Suzanne Collins writes, and this is a very, very big theme for fantasy writers in general, is a statement that she wants to say. And Suzanne Collins will not release another book until she has something else to say. You know, you look at each of the novels that she's brought out in the Hunger Games series, you start off with the Hunger Games, and it's oppression of the masses. Okay. You go into Catch and Fire, and, well, I mean, the whole trilogy, really, of the original 3 books. You have oppression of the masses, it's corruption of power and of leadership, it's a message about not being able to trust the government and people in power, and about thinking for yourself and making your own decisions. You look at A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and that was brought out during a rather tumultuous time in America. You know, there was a lot of themes in that book about identity and, you know, how do bad people become bad people? What makes somebody a bad person? What does desperation do to different people? You know, does everyone deserve to be treated as a person? I think was a pretty big theme in that one. Sunrise on the Reaping. I mean, it came out at the perfect time because this book is all about propaganda.
Yeah.
And if you haven't read the books, I won't give you any spoilers, as we've said, but when you're watching the film, just keep it in the back of your mind. The statement that Suzanne Collins wants to make with Sunrise on the Reaping is about the use of propaganda in media, which is why I'm so excited that they've gone with a big 80s theme, because it really resonates with the whole like Cold War kind of discussion.
Yeah.
You know, they're really linking it back to where people might understand what she's trying to say. And I really enjoy it when directors actively lean into what the writer's trying to put across.
Yeah. I like, again, we're looking at is it November time, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're looking at about November.
I think it's November 23rd.
Not to be too precise about it.
Not that I'm counting down or anything.
No. But yeah. Well, I'm glad that we I have now able to see. Well, thanks to going to see Spider-Man, I was able to get the trailer for that. So, and that's given us this opening thing for the podcast. So yeah, I'm something to look forward to, no doubt. But yeah, so whilst we're on the let's get onto another book then, shall we? Because I want not to go too much onto the spicy sort of thing. I want to go into a fantasy, but although fantasy does carry some different types, there's dark fantasies, there's romantic fantasies, there's obviously sci-fi fantasies, but it's mostly, we were sort of aimed just mostly at any sort of like top, things like, obviously fantasies when we say like Game of Thrones, obviously Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. There's those types of fantasies as well. So I don't know if you wanted to get this one started, because I said to you the other day, I just finished off a book that you recommended and I was grateful for it. So
anybody who's watching this episode might remember a bit of a throwback to one of the first episodes that we did, wherein I praised a piece of absolute masterpiece called The Poison Daughter. It is still my best read of 2026. Okay. If I look on my Kindle app, I can tell you how many books I've read this year. Give me 2 seconds because I'm doing it.
Right. Okay. everyone start opening up your Kindles now. Let us know how many books you got.
In 2026, I have read 130 books.
Whoa.
So far. The Poisoned Daughter is the best of the lot.
Whoa. Right.
Okay. When I tell you I mass consume, I mass consume. Now, speaking of messages in fantasy writing, The Poisoned Daughter is a very fun kind of fantasy because it has a unique magic system. Again, a very popular thing for fantasy writers to include because it lets them put like their own spin on what we think of as the normal world. But in this book, you have people blessed by different gods. And if you're blessed by a certain god, you can get a certain type of gift. For example, persuasion or charisma or like fire manipulation is one certain kind of it. And in this book, you follow one particular woman and her, I'm going to say a journey into her second marriage without giving too many spoilers. But there is such, I mean, you can back me up on this, Steve. There are so many political undertones.
Yeah.
This woman's family rules the city that they're in. And they have done for a very long time. And her entire inner dialogue is about questioning the fact that they're in charge, questioning the people who make the rules and why things are the way that they are and what can be done to change it. Should they be changed? What would the consequences be? So again, quite political, even though it is a romantasy, a very spicy book. It has a lot of very serious undertones. I recommended it to Mr. Steve because, as I said, my favourite book of 2026. And you've just finished it.
Yeah. It took me a while, but I got there. Yeah.
So what were your thoughts?
Wow. So there's a lot that in this, but there's a lot to unpack actually, because it's a bigger book than I'm used to. Like, I mean, I say that having read, and I keep going back to it as my go-to, but like it is a big chunky book. So there's a lot of pages, and not even it, but like I've got a load of other Ken Follett books, which I can talk about those at another time because they're at slightly different sort of genres. But this for me seems to have taken me a lot longer to get through than any of those. And I don't know why. I think I would argue maybe it's a bit of a slow burn. Maybe for me.
It is a bit of a slow burn. It does take a minute to pick up.
But when it does get going, it gets going well. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I did enjoy. There was some things within the book that, I'm keeping it spoiler free because it needs to be read by many people. And obviously no one wants to go in. I think you go into this book with a clear mind of what it is and what it's
absolutely.
about. And, you don't want to go in with expectations or ruined for you because you already know what's coming. So yeah, I mean, it's the same as any sort of like spoiler, keeping it spoiler free. But yeah, there's also the fact that it's because it's a book, you want to keep that minimum to a minimum. Mm-hmm. It's not so much like a film. You're going to see trailers. With this, you don't get trailers. You get synopsis, but that's about it. But it's not widely available, is it? So yeah, I really thought I knew what might happen because quite early on there's an obvious hint as to what will happen. You're like, I know where this is going, but then later in the book, it has something happens, and I'm like, oh, okay, I know where this is. Oh, okay, that's not what I expected. Yeah. There's a nice little twist. I think it's more closer to the I think it's in the the third act of the book. Certainly, there seems to be much more of a mention. Like there's a bit of a twist. Like you're like, okay, but yeah. So I didn't think I thought when then I started to remember what was going on before. I was like, oh, maybe I could have spotted it before, but I didn't. I didn't spot it at all. So yeah, I like the surprise of a few things, but Yeah, I did enjoy it. I really did enjoy it. And I'm not just saying that. I did enjoy this. And it was again, it took me a while to get through. And I was kind of trying to get through this, having read, like, this comes under the similar sort of, it's a fantasy romance or romancy.
Yeah.
Read.
Well, we've had discussions about the difference before, haven't we? When we did the
so I would
episode.
There are going to be some warnings about this because it does contain certain scenes within
certain themes.
Again, it's up to you whether you choose to listen to our advice, but obviously we're just letting you know.
Yeah.
Certain
As
things.
always, check your trigger warnings.
Trigger warnings are a thing. Yeah. To me, I'd completely forgotten because it kind of now talking about reminded me of a book that I bought. I bought on Kindle. I didn't buy it like physical copy. Just because I thought, someone mentioned it. I was like, way before I heard about The Poisoned Daughter. This book does have sort of similar themes, and the book I was talking about was The Dire Bound, which is kind of but that the tropes in The Dire Bound, slow burn romance, and I was like, okay, that's why that's a DNF for me. I just couldn't read it. I couldn't get on with it. But I'm glad I persevered with The Poisoned Daughter, though. I mean, I've
got to admit, I quite enjoyed Dire Bound.
Yeah, I need to go back to it, maybe.
It's more than one book. It is a series. The second one is better.
Yeah.
But people say that about a lot of things. I think when I read Dire Bound, I got the recommendation from Book Talk, and I was told it was a slow burn, but I quite enjoy like a slow burn, enemies to lovers kind of situation.
Yeah.
That was quite good for me. But if it's not really your scene, then I can definitely see how it will put you off.
And that's why, and I think because I didn't know you knew about the Dire Bound like series, so I'm only, like I said, I'm mentioning that because I feel like they have similarities between the two.
There are.
In terms of its like themes, and obviously there's
the political statements, definitely.
Yeah. So, but it was only because I was looking it up and I was like, okay, yeah, I remember this. And then like the tropes, going through all the tropes, literally the top of the list was slow burn romance. I was like, oh, that's probably why I didn't finish it. But for some reason, I pushed through the Poisoned Daughter a lot better. And for those who don't know, and I've said it before, as someone who's very dyslexic, when it comes to sort of piecing, I have to read certain things maybe more than twice if I get distracted. And I do have that thing of, if I get distracted, I completely forget what I'm doing.
Absolutely, yeah.
So when it's when there's a heavy subject, like it doesn't happen throughout the whole book, but there are some
heavier things.
There's some heavy things throughout this book, and I'm like, if I've got to just concentrate trying to read it. Honestly, once I got past like some of those heavier stuff, I was able to. Sometimes I was speed reading it, like I was going through it. I was like, oh, okay, this is fine. But then obviously you come to something that describes a certain situation, but they use a slightly longer word that I've never read before, and that throws me off because I slow down and they have to break, as someone who has that slight reading difficulty, is that you have to break down the word, and by that point you've kind of lost the pace. And that didn't help, and that's where I struggled more. So I think a lot of it came later on though, but it was it was just trying to get into it at the start. There's been books. I put it down, and the reason I'm telling you this, the reason it took me so long is because I put it down and I stopped and I read another book in between, because I just had to cleanse myself. I just had to cleanse.
Sometimes you've got to.
I had to put that down. And that's why it took me so long to read this particular book. I just felt like I needed a cleanse from this subject because I'd been previously reading the Merman series that B is talking about. You know, our friend B.
You say that as if you weren't the one that introduced us.
Oh, I absolutely, I did. Absolutely, I did. But I don't want to get too much into that because there's slightly different genres. But like, you know, because I stopped, I read a couple of those. I'd already gone into those sort of like spiciness, and I was like, I don't want another one. I want something different. So I read a Ken Follett book, again, different type of genre. So I don't want to get into it, but I'll come back to it on a later date. And it's actually the book that I sent you, Circle of Days.
Yes.
So I read that first, but I completed that. Then I went back to The Poisoned Daughter. Once I got back into it, I felt cleansed. I felt like, right, we could start fresh. I can get back into reading something that's a little bit more. I wouldn't even say it was more political. They both types of books that I read, there are certain political things in it, but nothing like the Circle of Days one that is not as heavy. We're talking about it's all happened, you know. Again, I'm not going to get into that. I don't want to start that. I don't want to get into that topic because I think I want to save that for another time. I will talk about it, but not now. Just because I'm going to get thrown off as to why you asked, you know, to the original question of what I thought about this book. I really enjoyed it. And I'm glad I finished it. And I'm glad to have put it down and say to you, that was well worth the recommendation, and thank you for like recommending it to me. I may go now, based on that, I may go back and try and finish Dire Bound, because like I said, I do own it. It's in my Kindle library. And maybe I'll give that a second chance, because I didn't give that a chance for the same reason I gave this a chance, you know? So like, yeah. So yeah, I'll go back to it. But sometimes, you know, that may have just been that DNF that came along at the same time as me reading something similar. I don't know.
Well, I mean, sometimes it's just right book, wrong time, isn't it? I mean, I've had it before, whereas I've started reading something or even watching something. I did it with Guardians of the Galaxy film when it first came out. First time I tried to watch Guardians of the Galaxy, I turned it off 5 minutes in.
All right.
Because I just wasn't in the right mindset to watch it.
Yeah.
It didn't interest me. It didn't grab my attention.
Yeah.
And the next time I tried to watch it, I was like, why the fuck did I turn this off? This is great.
Yeah. That's it. That's it. Yeah. It takes that mindset.
I tell you what, though, speaking of things that we need to go back to, one fantasy novel or set of novels, I should say, that I really do need to go back to, and I've been meaning to do this for the past couple of years, is the Tolkien verse.
Tolkien verse?
Yes. I read The Hobbit a couple of years ago. I say a couple of years ago, probably about 10 years ago now. And I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. I think I've read it a couple of times. But I never actually sat down and read Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. No,
And I need to. Because in terms of fantasy, I mean, that's the granddaddy, isn't it?
Oh yeah. No, I was going to say I've never done that. I've never read. The
Hobbit is definitely a good one.
Yeah, I can
recommend The Hobbit. I think the reason why I didn't actually read Lord of the Rings is because I was told it was a little bit of a hard read. Like, it is quite long. And Tolkien was he was a linguist. So, you know, there's a lot of like rabbling on about words and languages, and I think that just didn't really interest me as much. But I do need to actually sit down and read it. Same with the Silmarillion. It's on my list, but I've just never quite gotten around to it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No. I mean, again, it's not something I know someone who did read, and not changing it too much, but like who did read the Game of Thrones series, and I'm like, I don't know if I could do that. And I know it's sort of changing it slightly, but like it was that idea of like his writing for that, from what I understand, is everything's thing is described in detail. Like, one of the things that stood out for me having a conversation with this person was that she said, you know, there's a wagon, and then he talks about the wagon wheel and gives details of the wagon wheel, and it goes on for about 2 pages. I'm like, I don't want to know, you know, that's too much detail. But I'm a little bit worried that that's what Lord of the Rings is. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but like hearing that, they're two different things, but they have the similar sort of like, you know, fantasy of like people, you know, armors and you know, fighting. There's wars between different factions. So yeah, I was a bit worried that might be the reason why I have not read the Lord of the Rings, but I probably shouldn't apply that logic to this book because it probably is completely different. I'm probably completely wrong.
One thing that I might try doing, I don't know how well it would work for you, but I am, as we all know, autistic as fuck. So it will definitely work for me. I tend to find that with certain things like that, whereas I know it's going to be really descriptive and I know I'm going to struggle with it, is I treat it like an English literature class. So I'll read a chapter and then I'll kind of analyze the chapter, like even annotate it if I've got my own copy that I don't mind annotating, of like, okay, what have I read? Where are my themes? What's my important dialogue? What is the writer trying to say by focusing on this? Because for me, 2 pages on a wagon wheel, he's not talking about a wagon wheel anymore.
Right, yeah.
It's either an allegory or he's trying to tell you more details about the world that they're in through what they're seeing in this wagon wheel.
Right, okay, yeah.
You know, and I do quite enjoy sometimes taking apart a book to that level, like, or even poems and stuff to that level of saying, right, okay, I've read this chapter. You know, this is what this means. This links with this in another chapter, or this looks like it could be foreshadowing. You know, this particular description really matches what we've said in something else, and it tells me this about the world that I'm in. So that then the next time I try to read it, because I've got all of my notes, I can kind of almost skip through the bits that I don't need because I know what's actually important for me to read.
yeah. Sorry, I'm really warm now. I've just realised it's got warm as the day's gone on.
It has. It was warm again today. It was like 22 degrees again today.
I can't believe it. Yeah. Okay. Right. Shall I go into one of my books that I've read?
Yeah.
Something that might actually interest you, might not, maybe. But again, it is fantasy. It's fantasy, but it's actually comes under like a sort of fantasy romance, fantasy horror. Comes under the sort of those taglines. It's called One Dark Window, and it's a duology. The sequel is Two Twisted Crowns, and it's a book by Rachel
Gillick?
Rachel Gillig, I think her name is. Yeah.
I'm looking at it on Kindle.
So Elspeth needs a monster. I'm going to give you a synopsis now. Elspeth needs a monster. The monster might be her. An ancient marsupial, I think that's how you pronounce that, spirit is trapped inside Elspeth Spindle's head. She calls him the Nightmare. He protects her, he keeps her secrets, but nothing comes for free, especially magic. When Elspeth meets a mysterious highwayman on the forest road, she is thrust into the world of shadows and deception. Together they embark on a dangerous quest to cure the town of Blunder from the dark magic infecting it. As the stakes heighten, their undeniable attraction intensifies. Elspeth is forced to face her darkest secret yet. The nightmare is slowly darkly taking over her mind, and she might not be able to stop him. They go on this quest to find. As they go on their quest, they need to try and find province cards throughout their journey.
Okay.
Province cards are similar in nature to like tarot cards, but with magic attached to them. This is the first book of the Shepherd Shepherd King. Yeah, the Shepherd King series. So, like I said, there's a second book. It's only a duology, so there's only 2 books. Yeah, basically there are like these cards that they have to try and find, and each card there is actually a web page which tells you what these cards are and what those what the abilities do. But yeah, they go throughout this whole. There's pictures as well on this web page. It's so cool. But yeah, it's basically the guide. It's called the Cosmic Reads, Guide to the Province Cards in One Dark Window and 2 Twisted Crowns, and it tells you each card. Yeah, I mean it says at the start spoiler warning, so I'm not going to read what this web page tells us because I don't want to give anything away. But I really enjoyed the first book. When I knew it was like there's a second book, I was like, okay, I bought them back. Oh, in fact, I borrowed these on Kindle Unlimited, but I bought the books. I did actually buy the physical copies because I liked the covers. So I do actually own the physical copies of these, but I've not read from the physical copies. I've read from the Kindle. And honestly, I actually really enjoyed it. I thought they were really good. It was like the darkness. There's like I said, there's darkness attached to them. And they take this, obviously there's a journey, so that we know that there's 2 books, so it kind of gives suggestion that we get to an end of one and then we're going to carry on. I think you can read the first one on it as a standalone, but knowing that there's a second one, you might want to go further in and find out where Elspeth goes, what other journey she has. I don't want to give away the synopsis of the second book because it will probably spoil the experience of the first book because it already gives suggestion to where the first book left off. But I really enjoyed. I mean, I don't often do these types of books, so they're not really like, but when I do find them, I suppose we are going sort of in the similar sort of vein as The Poisoned Daughter. There's magic involved, but is it romance? I think there is some romance to it as well. I think, but they're not really big books. They're only like 449 pages on one of them. I think it's 432 pages. The first book. 449, slightly a little bit longer. Second one, but yeah, I would recommend these for anyone who does like those dark fantasy with a hint of horror thrown in as well, because there is a little bit of the fact that she's got something living inside her. There's obviously a dark entity that lives within inside her, and if you want to find out what happens, I guess you just have to read. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I'm just trying to look up Rachel Gilling. Yeah, she's got. There are a few other books that she's obviously written, but there's looking at Waterstones, for example. There's a couple like The Knight and the Moth, and then there's The Knave and the Moon, which isn't out yet. It's actually pre-order. But yeah, so there's only been those 4. Looking at the Province Cards, Deck and Guidebook. There's you can pre-order that apparently on Waterstones. Just looking that up. I guess it's probably a card game. I don't know, card or maybe. So you could use those as a set of slightly alternative set of tarot cards, I guess. So yeah, if you're into that kind of thing, it might be worth a shout. Again, I don't want to give too much away because I feel like I might spoil too much. Yeah, but like I've already even with the synopsis, like you can get an understanding of like something what's there, what's going on. Hopefully there's enough there. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's like, yeah, she comes across, obviously there's certain people that will stand in the way. I thought it was good. I thought it was a fun book to read. As soon as I finished that one, I went straight onto the second one. I didn't even give that a break. Like, it was literally one after the other. Just because I wasn't gonna do that. I was like, no, I'll read the first one. If that's no good, then I won't bother. Then I'm not wasted my time. Like I said, it's Kindle Unlimited. You can read it for. You can sort of like just read it sort of like as long as you've got that Kindle Unlimited added to your Amazon packaging, I guess, or Amazon package. But yeah, I actually own the physical copies, and if anyone wants to borrow them, yeah, you can. It's fine.
Well, I will say, I've added that to my wish list, first of all, because I am a big fan of a corrupted chosen one trope, especially in fantasy.
Yeah.
If you are also a fan of like the corrupted chosen one, then a series that you might enjoy. Granted, it is a longer series, so if you don't get through all of it, don't fret. It's called The Book of Azrael.
Ooh.
And I read them early this year. Well, I read most of them all this year. I don't think I finished the last one because there are a lot of books in it.
Okay.
But the first three, really fucking good. I'll get the page up to give you a synopsis because why not?
I literally have just started searching it, so I've got.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So the general synopsis: where there are gods, there are also monsters. For 1,000 years, the Etherworld has known peace until now. Many centuries ago, desperate to save her dying sister, Diana made a deal with Caden, a monster far worse than any nightmare. Locked in servitude to him, she is forced to hunt down an ancient relic held by her most dangerous enemies, an army led by Samkiel, the World Ender. After the Gods' War, Samkiel hid from everything, denying his crown and deserting his people. Now an attack on those he loves sends him back to the realm he never wished to return to and into the sights of an enemy he had hoped to forget. With every world at stake, Diana and Samkiel are forced to set aside their animosity and work together before all is lost. So it is a little bit of an enemies to lovers, but it is very much a feminine rage, corrupted hero kind of story because the protagonist is Diana.
Okay, yeah.
And, she is a very powerful being. That's the whole shtick of the book is she is fearsome, she is feared.
Right.
So if you're a fan of like a hero that's got a bit more grey to them,
yeah,
highly recommend.
Recommend. This, when you said that, I thought I'd recognise the name, and now I've seen the front cover. I'm like, I do know, I have seen that book, but it's probably recommended to me. Obviously, if you purchase anything, you usually get this might interest you. So yeah, I have seen the book of Azrael cover before, and I was like, yeah, maybe. I never really gave it a thought, but again, I think it was the fact that it was a 1 of 5 series. And
I think I've only read through to number 4.
Yeah, and I'm just going back to what I said about not sure about doing series, and I'm happy to have stopped with two twisted crowns because that was fine for me. I'm glad, but then saying that, if she brought out a third book, I might actually read it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, this is where I am with the Book of Azrael. Like, I really enjoy them, but I won't read like the 5th one until I actually want to read the 5th one. I will say you'll read the first one and you'll want to read the second one.
Yeah, that's...
After that, it just depends on how much you care about it. But 1 and 2, you will definitely get through both and you will really enjoy them.
This is somewhat similar to what I was saying earlier about it. Me recommended the Merman series. I read the first one and then went, that's it, I'm not going to do no more. And then B went, oh, I'm on 4th book now. I was like, right, okay. So I started reading the 2nd and the 3rd. I'm currently on, I think I just finished the 2nd one, so I'll be on the 3rd soon. But I'm like,
no, I read the first one and I was like, no, that's enough mermaid sex for me. Thank you.
I don't want to know now. But that's that then. Again, because of the recommendation, I'm going back to like trying to not keep it too spicy, but I can't help it. But there is another sort of series which then involves another type of creature and female sort of. But yeah, I won't get into that.
Damn, you just love those monster fucker books, huh?
right. But there again, there's a series of like at least 5 of those. But let's keep it a little bit more. Let's keep it a little bit more clean than this week. We've already done the spicy one. I've got to remind myself. But this does look interesting. I would definitely look into this one.
The 1st and 2nd one, I definitely think you'd like.
Yeah. I will give it.
If you wanted to get away from spice, I think honourable mention time for some of the. I know we said we were going to talk about fantasy books in particular.
Yeah.
But honourable mention for Netflix adaptations of fantasy novels.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Sandman.
Okay.
I thought was done very well.
Right.
Very interesting. Lot of stuff in there. Shadow and Bone got very popular very quickly. That is a very good example of like a custom magic system and how magic is used within like not a capitalist society, but it's used to create weaker and richer people, I guess. The Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
Another very good one.
Yeah.
Let me just have a look for some more that I may have forgotten about. Because I'd hate to miss out something that somebody's listening out for. The Witcher. Obviously, they did The Witcher.
Yeah, of course.
They are making a new adaptation, and you'll be excited about this, of the Chronicles of Narnia.
Yes.
Based on the entire series, not just one book.
Not just the one.
So it'll be starting with The Magician's Nephew.
Right, okay.
Which I'm quite excited for, because I tried to read those books as a teenager, and I want to say halfway through The Magician's Nephew, and I got bored. And I know the books are supposed to be really good, but they just didn't catch my attention at the time. But yeah, that's something that's going to be coming out. Lockwood and Co. as well, another really good fantasy adaptation that Netflix has done. It's definitely been a very popular kind of genre for them to play around with recently.
Right.
I want to say like 2019 to 2021, they were very much in their like mystical horror thriller phase. Things like The Mist and The Society. It was very like thrillery, very psychological. Yeah. They've very much recently gone into fantasy adaptations because that seems to be what's popular with the market right now. So, good on them. Not all of them are good, but not all of them are bad. Which is more than you can say about some streaming services.
Yeah, true. That's fair enough. Actually, I don't know if it falls into the same category as fantasy. I think it might do because I suppose it does. Do you know what? We spoke about this on the first time in the first episode of the book podcast that we did. Just to sort of as a warning not to do it. I think it was prior to us going to the stage production of it. Musical. I did actually read Wicked.
Yeah.
By Gregory. Was it Gregory Maguire?
Yeah.
Now we did give warnings for it, and I will echo those warnings again. There are trigger warnings. This is not a book
for children.
Oh no! It's not a book for children. There is certain moments within the book that you go, oh shit! If my child was reading that, I'd probably be like a bit mortified because there'll be questions. There's going to be questions.
I would go as far as to say this isn't even really a book you should be giving to your teens.
Yeah, honestly.
It's very, very dark.
Yes. It absolutely is dark. You know it, right? You've read it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I've read bits of it. I haven't read all of it. But
right.
I know
Okay.
the content in it.
I tell you what it was. I was looking for because I didn't want to spend. This sounds cheap, but it's not cheap. It's just being careful with my money. But I went to World of Books. World of Books sometimes repurpose books, send them back out. They get books either from maybe like libraries who don't want them anymore. Because I've got books that I've never used them before, but I bought The Circle of Days from there, and it was a brand new book. But the Wicked one was recovered. Like you see that they've put a plastic covering over it. You can see that it's been used. So it is a second-hand, possibly even third-hand book. All the pages seem to be there. It's recycling, yeah. So it was only a couple of quid. So for the sake of a couple of quid, I thought, you know what? I'll get that. And I got Circle of Days as well, which was rather a newish book. So hadn't been out long. So yeah, I thought, right, I'm going to get it, and I read that. Oh my days, yeah. It obviously, for those who don't know, it does sort of like tell the back, like it's what the musical is based on, but only the good parts of the book. The rest of it is kind of brushed under the carpet, as far as the musical is concerned.
With good reason.
Oh my days. I'm not even sure if I can talk about it that much because of like trigger warnings, but yeah. It states like it's long before Dorothy came along, and it is the backstory of Elizabeth and Glenda. I'll try not to do that thing of Glenda. First meet. And yeah, it's literally it's their backstory. It's like it's what happens. Again, I'm not trying to spoil it, but again, it's an old book, but also, I mean, is it an old book? I don't know when it came out, but
it's fairly old.
It's a series. It's a series. This is book one. There are other books within the series, but this, I think saying this, I think it's probably the most adult out of the series. I'm not sure. I think that is correct for me to say that. But yeah, there's definitely adult themes throughout. Oh my god, there is. Yeah. I'm kind of glad I'm glad I read it, because it's now out the way. I can put it to one side. Sorry, Mike. I just whacked the microphone. I said that. I was doing hand gestures because I was so excited to explain things. Yeah, I did enjoy it. It doesn't spoil anything in terms of my enjoyment for the musical. I think the musical is a separate thing. I think it is quite important to treat them as different things. You can't look at that book and compare it to Wicked, or even compare it to The Wizard of Oz. It's set in the same universe, playground, but it's a different game. Oh yeah. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, 100%. Like I read it with a completely neutral sort of like way of like taking it on board and going. I knew what to expect because we had discussed it, like I said, in our previous book podcast. So I was like, right, I definitely want to mention this once I've read it. And this is the perfect time because it does fall in within that. It is fantasy. Yeah. So, there we go. I've read it. I've done it. I've ticked it. I probably won't go for the series though. I mean, I've got to admit, it's not a series that I'll probably end up reading. Yeah. I've been told, writing-wise, it is very well done, but it is very, very dark subject matter. It is. There's things in it that I went, whoa! Don't remember seeing that in the cinema, and for good reason. Yeah, because there's things in the book that you just go, how did you manage to write that? Why did you write that? Like, there's things in this that can I say trigger warnings? I think I can.
Yeah, I think you can.
Okay, so there's
being overly graphic.
Okay, then I'm not sure whether I can, but it's not. Okay, I don't. Yeah, if you're into Wicked,
just say it if need be. We can edit it out.
Bestiality.
Yeah, it is in there.
It's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say that as a trigger warning. It's in the book, and you understand why I'm glad that they've done two different things. They've done the musical, they've done the film of the musical, and this is from Gregory Maguire's mind when he's written this. I'm glad that someone was able to take some of the content in this and go, right, we can make this into a thing. Maybe just not all of it. We don't need that. There's certain things we don't need. And yeah, for good, like I said, like that, I think obviously the musical is sped along in terms of its timeline, but you don't, it might not come across as that, but like in the book, it does. It's a much slower pace. And obviously because it's a book, so you do have, longer chapters. I think, I don't know how long it takes to read it. It's a 512-page book. So it's round about the similar sort of pages as like some of the books I've already spoken about, roughly, with the slight difference of it being an extra 100 pages. But yeah, it's roughly that sort of size. It's not as long as the Poison Daughter. I think that's over 600 pages. So yeah, in comparison to that, to the two books, it's sort of mid-tier, like in terms of like where it sits in term for its length.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go. Read it, done it. Hey, if you want to borrow it, you can have it. I'll bring it up.
I mean, I'll read it if you've got the physical copy.
Oh, yeah, I've got a physical copy. Yeah. But yeah, it definitely looks like it's come out of a bargain bin. It's just, again, I bought it from World of Books. What do you want? So,
I mean,
it's like a couple of quid.
I love things like that.
Yeah.
Like the I think it's really, really important for us to reuse old books. Just because something's a bit bad, it doesn't mean you can't use it. Especially with books, there are that many printed, and it's all paper, it's all trees, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, who cares if you've got a copy that used to be owned by a library? It doesn't change that you can still fucking read it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'll throw it in the bag, and then you can. Like I said, I'm done with it now. I don't think I'll reread it. Not because I feel like it spoils it. I've done it, and that's it. For me, it's a one and done. For me, in this particular book, it's a one and done, and I'm happy with that. I've done it now.
Yeah. So sometimes you don't need to go back and read it a second time.
Do you know what I recently just started?
What?
Project Hail Mary, and I've read that.
I do need to read it. I haven't got it yet.
I haven't got a physical copy, but I do have a Kindle copy. I do want a physical copy because I feel like it's one of those that if I think I've said this before when it comes to physical copies in DVDs and stuff like that. If something's worth buying,
it's worth having a physical copy.
It's worth having a physical copy of, yeah. In terms of books and DVDs, when it comes to books, like I said, with the with the twin Two Twisted Crowns and those books, it's not just about me. Yes, I do. I've already read it on the Kindle editions, and I've done it. But the physical copy, they're beautiful to look at as well.
Yeah,
they're just really good. Like, you can obviously get better. Like, they will get re-released again with painted painted binders, on along the front of it. You do get those. Obviously, there's hardbacks. People prefer to have hardbacks, which is fine. I bought a book that I haven't read. It's I can't remember what it's called, but it's a hardback. I bought it because I looked at the cover of it, and I haven't read it. I bought it about 2 years ago. What's it? Oh, what was it called? 1 second. 1 second, and I'll let you know what it is. I literally moved from the desk. A dark and drowning tide, I think it's called.
Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
it's honestly hardback copy. I bought it, and then I didn't even read the synopsis. I was like, that looks really interesting. I think it's a dark fantasy book. So again, I've still got it. I just haven't read it. It's on my TBR list, but I probably won't even get to that before I get to. I've restarted Project Hail Mary, so I'll probably get through that first before I go on to that. Yeah, it's just certain books they just stand out as being that could be really good, or they just might be crap. I don't know actually. Honestly, I think dark fantasy or fantasy within just as a thing. Yeah, they can they can have some really good covers.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't have the synopsis of that one. Yeah, I was gonna.
It's fine. You can find it for next time.
Yeah, a dark and drowning tide. It's kind of it's I don't know. I can't remember. It's like folklore. It's got folklore of things. There's I think it's got that in. I'm not sure. I can't remember what it's about. There's magic in it, obviously, because there's because it's dark fantasy. It's along those lines. But there's the picture of it was basically like there's lily pads with lilies, and there's like an imp swimming in amongst the lilies, and two characters looking on. It's by Alison Saft, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like I said, I don't own that many hardback. They usually come out first, and they're usually much more expensive. I'm like, if a book's worth buying the first time round, and you get those hardbacks, and then you think, right, that's a very beautiful book. I want that on my shelf, and then fair enough, buy it. But yeah, I find hardbacks just difficult to read. They're more, especially I think American printed books seems to be better, like paperback. They're easier to read because they have more. They seem to have more flop to them. I don't know if you know. I don't know if you know. Do you know what I mean? Do you know?
Yeah, I kind of know what you mean. Yeah.
Whereas, like the British printed ones, they seem to be a bit more rigid, a bit more stiff, and you have to break the bind a little bit just to sort of read them. I don't know. Look, that's an observation. That's all that is. But yeah, but obviously hardbacks they can be a little bit of a problem for me. Reading them take forever. But anyway, yeah, that's a dark. Again, it's a dark fantasy. I think it's a dark fantasy romance, or it might just be a dark fantasy horror. I can't remember. But I'll look that one up. I'll let you know what it's like when I've read it in about 10 years from now. But yeah, I've actually got a couple of a couple of dark fantasy books, which I didn't realise I had, and I didn't realise. Well, it's not until you start looking at them as a fantasy book and you're going, oh yeah, I've realised I've got more than I thought. yeah, those are my books. Those are my. I'd say recommendations. I would recommend Wicked if you've got if you're open minded about it. If you're a little bit, if you don't mind those triggers, just read the trigger warnings. That's all I can say about that. And the other books, not so much trigger warnings, more. Hey, look, the Direbound and the Poisoned Daughter. Yeah, there's a little bit more spice to them. So if you don't like that, then you're not going to be. But
let's face it, if you don't like books with spice, you've not made it this far into this podcast.
That's true. That's very true.
You're not on episode 13 still listening if you don't like books with spice.
Because we will cover that quite extensive. I think
we've talked about a lot of smut.
Yeah, I mean, it's up there with talking about Phasmo, isn't it, really, to be fair?
Mm-hmm. Speaking of talking about a lot of smut, Steve.
Yes.
I do have a game prepared for us.
Oh, you do? Excellent.
I do have a game prepared for us. Would you like to play a game?
Do you know what? I think we could. I think we should.
Oh, well then.
Is it? And isn't it? Isn't it? And isn't it? A poem game?
I'm going to love that jingle. It amuses me so much. So, in the interest of this week kind of just being fantasy, I've come up with a round of Is It or Isn't It, which is much like when we first started on our previous podcast, the Bits and Pieces Gaming podcast, a little bit different. So I'm going to give you 2 titles.
Okay.
Both of them are fantasy books, and I want you to tell me which one is the romantasy novel. So which one is the porn book out of the 2?
All right, just cut straight to the chase.
All of them are fantasy.
They're all fantasy, but...
They're all fantasy. One of them is fantasy smut.
Right, okay.
Okay?
All right.
So, the first 2 titles, you have A Touch of Darkness and The Castle Behind Thorns. So I'll put those 2 titles in the chat. A Touch of Darkness and The Castle Behind Thorns. Which of those do you think is the smut book?
Okay, I will say... I will say The Castle Behind Thorns.
Okay, is that your final answer?
Yeah.
I can reveal that the porn book is A Touch of Darkness. If you are a fan of Greek mythology, buy this fucking book. It is a dark retelling of Persephone and Hades.
Oh, really? Okay.
And It is very, very, very good. If you are big on book talk, you will have heard of this book. It's by Scarlett Sinclair. I enjoy it. I really enjoyed it. Okay. There's technically 6 books in the series. However, there's really only 3 because you've got 3. For each book you've got in Persephone's POV, you get the same book in Hades' POV. Okay. So I've only read the Persephone's POV ones because once I've read through those 3, I was like, I don't need to go back and read it all again from a different person. But if you want to read them all, you can read them all.
Right. So A Touch of Darkness is the book that you reckon?
A Touch of Darkness.
Okay. Oh, right. I'll probably add that to my...
I've just realised I didn't put a comma in between them last time, so I'm going to put a comma in between them this time.
Okay.
The second set of titles, you have The Girl Who Drank the Moon and Haunting Adeline. That is The Girl Who Drank the Moon, Haunting Adeline. Which one is the smut book?
I'm not sure if I know the first one. I think I've heard of the first one. I don't know the second one. But if I've heard of the first one, if it's the one I'm thinking of, then I'm going to say it's the girl who drank the moon. I think The Girl Who Drank the Moon.
You think it's The Girl Who Drank the Moon?
Yeah,
I can reveal that it is the haunting of it is haunting Adeline.
Really? Damn.
Yeah. The Girl Who Drank the Moon is a fantasy book.
Yeah.
But The Girl Who Drank the Moon, there's a couple with that title, I believe. But this one in particular is definitely a YA fantasy.
Okay, all right. So
it's a girl called Luna who's been raised by a witch who must figure out how to handle the mystical powers she's been accidentally given before it's too late. Published in 2016. It's a high fantasy fiction, but it is quite popular. Haunting Adeline, I enjoy it. It is a dark romantasy.
Okay.
Quite dark romantasy. Not to everyone's taste. If you're going to check it out, check the trigger warnings. It was recommended to me by my sister-in-law. When I told my husband what was in the book that had been recommended by our sister-in-law, he got a little concerned about the mental state of my sister-in-law. It's that good of a book. However, they are making it into a film. And when I tell you, I will not be taking my husband to see that film, but I will be going to watch it.
Fair enough.
Okay, the third and final set of books. The Shape of Magic and Rhapsodic.
See, again, The Shape of Magic. I think I've heard of that. But again...
The Shape of Magic, Rhapsodic.
Okay, so I'm not doing too well with this one. I've got to get one of them, haven't I? Let's say The Shape of Magic.
You saying The Shape of Magic?
Yeah.
I can tell you that the smut book, the final smut book, is Rhapsodic.
Damn it! I've got all of them wrong.
The Shape of Magic is a fantasy novel that explores what higher education would be like if magic was real. So it's a magic academia.
Okay.
Rhapsodic is it's a story about a siren who owes some debts, and in order to pay the debts, goes to a man called the Bargainer. It's fantasy smut.
Yeah, okay.
About a siren. It's supposed to be very good. I have added it to my read list. I haven't read it yet.
Okay. Yeah, just...
So, I know it's been a while since we've done one of those where we've given two titles. So
yeah.
We'll not blame you too much for getting all of them wrong.
Well, there you go. There's some titles there. I mean, you've got 6 titles there, and it's up to you.
All of them very highly rated.
Yeah, no. I mean, absolutely, and 3 of them are dark romantasy, slightly spicy. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's some good recommendations, really, as well. Like if you look at it. So yeah, thanks for that, Kate.
You're welcome. I mean, I don't have anything else to really talk about tonight. I don't know if you do.
No, I actually, do you know what? I don't. I think I've pretty much covered, because I only covered the books that I've read or got. Like I haven't looked too much into a lot of these. There probably was more on my Kindle that I didn't realise. But I looked at my bookshelf and went, okay, which of those are fantasy? I mean, like I said, we've already discussed sort of the spicy ones. So like Phantasm, I think we've discussed those, and that's kind of fantasy as well. But because we covered it under the spicy episode. I did
enjoy Phantasma.
Phantasma, yeah. There's going to be a third one, isn't there?
I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Honestly.
Me and my sister-in-law, again, have been counting down for the third one to come out. She bought me the first 2 for Christmas.
I do have both of those. Again, they're physical copies.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
But that's not just all of my, I don't, again, I said it a little while ago about me not realising how many fantasy books I have. But when I separate them, I do have quite a range when it comes to books. I didn't realise how, how close some of them were to being similar sort of genres. I never realised it until I looked at them. But yeah, there's a yeah. That's it. I think that's pretty much me done. I think as far as the fantasy books that I've read, or in one case haven't read. I think we're done on this one. I think it's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode than normal, but that's fine. It's not too short that you get little, that you get lost and say.
I mean, it's still an hour and a half. So.
Yeah, so it's not bad. We've done okay.
Well, I will leave us with a quote because it's a distinguishment that I think we'll touch more on in the next episode.
Okay.
But I think it's a really nice quote. If you solve a problem with technology, it's sci-fi. If you solve a problem with magic, it's fantasy.
And on that note, thank you very much for listening. As always, we are on all of the podcast platforms. Obviously, Spotify and the Apple podcast thing that it has, and obviously, as I've spoken throughout with books, we are also on Audible. If that's your thing, maybe you want to listen listen to your books rather than reading them. I do occasionally, but yeah, we're also on Audible as well as Amazon Music and a smattering of other podcast platforms. So yeah, thank you very much if you were watching live, but also thank you very much for listening. If you're listening to this later on down the line, don't forget, check out our YouTube channel. It's just the audio version of the podcast. It is the Mr. Steve and Mrs. Bingly's podcast. Check that out. And we will see you again in the next episode of To Be Decided. Thanks very much for listening. Until next time. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you very much, Kate, as well. Thank you for being here. I must forget to mention that. We'll see you again soon. Take care, everybody. Bye for now. Goodbye.
Bye.